podcast host, I have talked with hundreds of facility management and workplace leaders, but I've always dreamed of taking these conversations on the road. My guest this week is Andre Jones, a longtime friend from the Capital chapter of IFMA and a corporate real estate and facilities leader at the headquarters of Capital One in Tysons Corner, Virginia. My name is Mike Petrusky, and this is On My Way to Work. All right. My next victim, picking up Andre.
Man, hey, what's going on?
Good morning.
How you doing, man? Appreciate the
doing
lift.
great.
Really
How are
do.
you?
Life is good. Can't complain.
Great
Loving
to see you. Great
Good
to
seeing
see
you
you.
as always, man.
Thanks for doing this.
Hey, man,
no.
appreciate your
Let me give you a ride. How about I give you a ride to work?
I love it.
I love it. Now, this is the circle of life, Andre. We filmed a video on YouTube, 7 years ago? 8 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
But fast forward, man, and look at you today.
Still growing up.
Still learning, but
still growing up, but still having fun. And that's the beauty of it. I know, like you said, 8 years ago, we never could have predicted how this industry has evolved, how the workplace has evolved, the multi-generations and the needs and demands, and how technology has changed completely how we worked and operated. So it's
sure.
It's part of being that lifelong learner and being able to adjust and go with the flow.
Throw a little pandemic in there. The mix. You forgot about that
little thing called COVID,
yeah.
global pandemic. It's so funny because I remember sitting at one of the world workplaces and you're looking at this stuff like, oh, well, and maybe I'll take this section and how to deal with a endemic or something like that. And I'm thinking, this would never happen to us. I think a while back, I was thinking about like avian flu or something like that.
Yeah, right. That's
and I'm like, everything will fizzles out. And they was thinking, okay, maybe COVID's on that line. But then it was like, wow, this is real. And
it was wild.
Spread, so.
And where were you at the time when COVID hit? You were at Capital One, right? That had started?
I was not at Capital One.
Oh,
I was at Lumen Technologies and formerly CenturyLink. So
when did you join Capital One?
I joined Capital One during the pandemic.
Wow.
So yeah, about 2 years ago. So it was very interesting in that sense. A lot of the work I was doing there was with government contracting. So I was working around the clock because we had a very, very controlled environment with security. So keeping skiffs up, allowing people who had to do critical national security related matters, they had to have spaces to come in. So enhanced cleaning, enhanced support, being that point person. And since you have the clearance, you're probably playing escort to a lot of the things when we had any type of outbreaks or any type of exposures. So
sure,
that was fun around the clock.
You were never locked down personally. You were living out and doing like many of my FM friends.
Yeah,
keeping the buildings running, even though they were empty.
They were empty. I got like you said, you got a few days at home, and then next thing you know, it's back to, for you, business as usual. Like, how do you keep everything up and going? Is it safe? A lot more check-ins, a lot more, okay, here's the strategy, here's what we need to do, here's the information. And like you said, just being the calm in the storm and navigating and providing sound solutions, being that good partner with them. And like you said, it was educational. You got to really learn and meet people. And then, like you said, connecting with some of the FMs, it's like monkey see, monkey do. Hey, what are you guys doing over there?
Yeah.
Hey, that sounds good. We might want to do this, or why? So there were good collaboration, good brainstorming, and just support from the rest of the FMs you typically work with as to what are the best practices and how it works.
The community was tested and I think came through with flying colors as far as, that collaboration and making sure, hey, we're all in this together and let's share resources, let's share ideas and make sure we're taking care of everybody. So, Andre, what is your routine these days? Are you going into the office every day or what's happening?
Pretty much. Usually it's at least 4 days a week.
Okay.
There's just some things, like you said, you have to be present for. And then, like you said, having some convenience of work from home when you can. But I think, like you said, our mandates or whatnot, there's certain days where people just aren't in, and that's still one of the best opportunities to take advantage, to see things, to see how things are. And it's a little quiet, so you can get some head down work. So
yeah,
it works out very nicely.
here we go. Shocking Northern Virginia traffic.
Hey,
Andre, what do?
you sit, relax, and smile. It's not much you can do. You got looky-loos. We got those who are in a rush.
Sure.
Why send off bad chi, man? Just relax. You'll get there eventually. You know?
Well, it's one of those things, right? I mean, this is what employees are struggling with. They need a reason to face the commute,
Yeah.
deal with that sacrifice,
Yep.
and what are we doing to help it become worthwhile? How do we earn that trip into the office? What do you think?
Well, I mean, like you said, why am I coming in? That's your central focus. And I think, like you said, that connection, that human interaction, you don't want to go into work being a frump. You want to go in there, be lively, be excited, ready to engage with folks. So for me, if it's not something musical, or if it's some type of comedy routine, old school Carlin or Richard Pryor, just some of the classic stuff that just puts you in the right mood. It allows you to say, you know what, everything's okay. It's not so bad.
You have at Capital One, and I've been to the headquarters building where we're headed here.
Yeah.
Beautiful Tyson's Corner, Virginia, part of that great development that's close to Metro.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had to drive in, but we did our best to try to find a easy path here.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
But you've got that facility that could really attract people and give them the places and spaces
Totally.
to be their best selves, collaborate. Tell me more about that.
So it's so cool. A lot of the design and things we were factoring in, we really were innovative in our thought processes. Just trying to say, okay, what is the future of work, where I want to be, why I want to come in. So if you have the technology, the assets, the environment, the vibe, it beats sitting at home at the kitchen table or that. Just the change of scenery. Those are the things we were really trying to incorporate when we designed, built, and implemented for our associates. So it's really cool. And then getting the feedback is pretty cool. Like, oh, what about this? Could you do this differently? Or I saw this here. You hear all kind of comments. You take the good, the bad, and the ugly. But
Sure.
It allows you to have a great filter. It allows you to say, okay, continue to be innovative. Like, how can I wow my colleagues with what we're providing for them? So it really helps keep that central focus.
And as an FM, are you talking with your colleagues across the aisle at HR and IT and making sure all those
it's
moving parts come together?
It is very fun, especially in the hybrid world. So sometimes you have to be their eyes and ears, which is great for partnerships. And sometimes they're getting stuff that comes downhill and they need you to be there as a solution. So it adds context. It allows you to be multi-skilled with developing those relationships. I think, like you said, there's the practice, but now it's, we're learning to be human beings again. We're learning to be decent. So, like you said, if you could be that beacon, that conduit, that person that, hey, I want him in the room, or I want his insight, or he provides a unique perspective and great energy. You always be in a know. You could be resourceful.
I agree with you, Andre. This is something we've talked about in the past, the idea that we forget how soon we forget after being at home for a while. And some folks were onboarded during the pandemic and have never experienced a vibrant, buzzing office where they have that connection with their colleagues. But now I have, and I've been talking about this on the podcast for a lot of months now, and trying to find that nuanced, balanced view, where you take into consideration everyone's different, unique needs. I'm all for flexibility and choices, but I feel like sometimes leadership is required to bring out the best in our teams and have that intentional connection that happens only when it's purposeful, right? So are you involved in any of that, or do you have any thoughts about that?
I'm involved to a certain degree, and then I'd have tons of thoughts, which is a good thing and a bad thing.
Sure.
But it's kind of cool. Perspective matters. I think, like you said, we have leaders who... Now let's rewind what you said and unpack. I've had colleagues and I've talked to people in other organizations where there was a corporate culture that existed. And then came the pandemic. Then came versions of hybrid. and people are still trying to define what that culture is, as well as incorporating some of these new strategies.
Sure.
And then too, like you said, we've had workforces change hands. I mean, I was talking to one colleague, he said 75% of his people in his office are all new for pre-pandemic.
Wow.
And that's huge. I mean, because you can't go back, oh, well, our standards were, or we used to, and you have to get away from that. And now it's like, are you driving, defining what the new culture should be? Are you the driver, or are you the navigator, more or less, in that sense? Because we have leaders sometimes, I want to see this, you go make it happen. Oh, well, geez, thanks.
That's tough.
Or so it can be complex. There are multiple layers to that. But you can't be afraid to be bold. You can't be afraid to take a risk and take a chance. I love it. Everyone says, oh, well, this and that and that. And you see some of these mandates and people just kind of repel. And that's not the purpose of the workforce or the workplace in the sense. We want people to collab, connect, and engage. That's the journey. I mean, that's the fun part of the journey. It's not set in stone, and it can be rewritten or recalibrated and detour and get back on the route here. So I like being the navigator. I don't mind being the driver. You know, just
either way, you're
be
good.
flexible.
You're in for the ride. Well, I think there's an opportunity for our
Certainly
audience,
is.
my friends out there who are workplace leaders of all kinds, facility management, corporate real estate. The roles are all necessary, and there is a new way of working happening, and we can be at the forefront of that. So I'm always trying to inspire people to get out of their comfort zone and do something new, try something, experiment, and see what comes from it, and then fail fast, learn from those mistakes.
Absolutely.
Your military background certainly taught you that, right?
It absolutely did. Great foundation. Like you said, FAIL is an acronym, first attempt in learning.
There you go. I like it.
You pick yourself up, dust off your boots, and get right back in the saddle, get back in the fight. And I always try to apply that in my corporate entity, in my role. So to me, it allows for resilience. And it could be infectious, like I said, I remember being in the military, you get that first sergeant coming here, he fires you up, like, you know what? Yeah, I want to be like that guy. Well, let's go. So that's my mindset, my mentality. I try to bring that type of energy to it. I do have down moments and whatnot, but
well, you went through some challenges during the pandemic. You want to tell me about that as far as how you feeling? Are you back to 100% health?
I tell you what.
Kidney transplant, is that right?
Yeah, I had to have a kidney transplant. So in October of 2020, I ended up being diagnosed with stage 5 chronic kidney disease.
Wow.
And pretty much my kidneys were functioning at 2% of its capacity. So it was very, very scary. I just remember the doctor was saying if you didn't come in and show and do what you did, and that probably a week later you possibly could have died.
Wow.
And that kind of like really shook me to my core. It was tough times. Being admitted, was in the hospital for a good 2-3 weeks. They started me on dialysis right away just to get normal and get stabilized. But it was funny. I probably was down on myself for about 2 hours, and then it was kind of like, let me get back in this fight. Like you said, there's always a plan, and I'm just grateful that I was able to find a donor. Grateful that, the kidney took, it didn't reject, and a year plus now since the transplant, things are much, much better.
Good.
So definitely a better quality of life. Definitely a motivator to keep working and keep going,
Hey, well, we're glad you're still here, man. We need you.
I'm glad to be here.
It's awesome.
I just love the outreach from the FN community and my colleagues, and the prayers and the well wishes and the meals and the funny emails. I mean, they were all integral to keep me up and going. So it's pretty nice to have those relationships.
It sure is. That's what community is all about.
Yeah.
So good. Heard it said multiple times that hybrid is the hardest because it's in some ways the worst of both worlds.
It is.
The worst of remote work. It's the worst of what a positive in-office experience could be. So how do we deal with that? I know we're in the early stages of figuring it out, right?
Hybrid is jambalaya. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
You got a little bit of this. You got your andouille sausage.
Is that spicy?
Well, that's
Spicy
the thing.
jambalaya?
What's your fix? Some like it spicy, some like it mild. So it's like you said, if you get bad shrimp, guess what?
That ruins the whole batch right there. That ruins the whole pot.
That's hybrid. It's like it's when you're making it, you're continuously testing. All right, what extra ingredient do I add here? Or
I love it.
What do I have to do? Or do I need to stir some more? It needs to simmer. How long will it go? So, you can't be afraid to make adjustments. Grandpa's recipe ain't gonna be everyone's appetite nowadays.
That's right. That's right.
That's my take on hybrid. But
that's the title of this episode, Andre. Grandpa's recipe.
There's your tag right there.
That's the tagline.
That's your tagline. So you're hearing that pretty frequently about that.
Yeah.
I mean, is it really common that they come and ask about, not just collaboration, but like, how do we have human connection? I mean, in those type of environments?
It could be by bias. That's my focus. Okay. I always want to figure out the best way to thrive. Human flourishing is like my goal, my outcome. And if I think everybody's doing their best, then the organization will also have the success it's looking for.
Draw out the best in us, yeah. I like
that. Eptura does a lot of research about this with our customers and kind of taking a look at the data and analyzing what's going on in the real world and doing surveys and figuring it all out. And we're hearing the same message that everybody else is hearing. Whether I have folks from Gensler talking about their research or some of the other big workplace companies sharing their research, there's this bubbling up of the idea that people want to come to an office. They want that human connection, but it's about the social aspects. They can connect virtually, get their job done, but they can't necessarily find those human connections, the relationship building, the mentoring, the feeling part of a team, that intangible, we have a hard time putting our finger on.
Yep.
And that's one truth. But again, there's a tension between that and the desire for flexibility. And I'm all for giving people choice and wanting to let them make their own decisions, give autonomy to people, and they can, figure out for themselves what's best. But without that intentionality, you're going to go to an office that's empty and you're not going to be satisfied with what you're looking for.
This is true. I mean, I used to believe, like you said, that environment, that office is the soul of a company. And like you touched on it just like that. I mean, and the research, like you said, is showing, it's showing. I think often it gets missed or underscored that that's not the importance, not just to collaborate, but how to develop and accomplish and achieve together. And if we can't have spaces, we don't have the right environments, we don't have the right, I like to call it special sauce to make that happen, we're at risk of losing our souls, our identification as a company, in a sense. We're not getting the best versions of ourselves. It's weird. I look at my teams and we get our best work done when we're just having a ball. And that usually has to do with some form of laughter or something along those lines where those personalities really come out. And it's like, I like working with this guy. He's good at it, So what we do, what I do, like, it gets away from a lot of the technical and it's more relationship.
Yeah.
It is something like being an account manager. There's a lot of relationship management where are you at? How can I connect? How do I engage? Do we feel connected that we're doing something together? And that is a huge part of being successful in what I do. So,
all right, man. This has been awesome. Man. Glad to give you a ride in the Mike P. Mobile. Door-to-door service is what we provide here.
I appreciate it, brother.
On the Eptura train, my friend. Listen.
Smooth ride.
Thanks
coffee,
so much. Good to see you.
Good chatting. Brother, appreciate you so much.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you. Right. Have a great day.
Be safe, man.
Don't forget your coffee.
Gotta have it.
The fuel.
It's the lifeblood.
See you, Andre.
See you, bro.